Rachel Maddow did a piece last night that after you see it, you have to wonder what has happened to the United States. Are we that perturbed? Are we that dysfunctional that we allow the bastion of dysfunctionality another foothold in America? I want you to listen to this and then let's take it on the other side.
I just want to say from the outset, this is not normal. I mean, like, Warren Harding was a really bad president, right? Richard Nixon was bad. Had some people do really bad things. The Iran-Contra scandal is largely forgotten, even though it wasn't that long ago. That was really bad. People got in a lot of trouble for that, and a lot of them did. People got in trouble during presidencies. Even high-ranking people from various presidents have been in trouble in all of those eras, right, and others. But in what universe is it possible that an American president has his campaign chairman arrested, that's Paul Manafort, and his deputy campaign chairman arrested, that's Rick Gates, and his campaign manager arrested, Steve Bannon, and his national security advisor arrested, that's Mike Flynn, and his personal lawyer arrested, that's Michael Cohen, and his longtime political advisor arrested, that's Roger Stone, and his campaign foreign policy advisor arrested, that's George Papadopoulos, and his inaugural chairman arrested, that's Tom Barrack, just arrested today, his inaugural vice chairman arrested, Elliot Brody, his private company indicted, the Trump Organization. The chief financial officer of his private company arrested, Alan Weisselberg. His foundation/charity shut down as a fraud. That's the Trump Foundation. His quote-unquote school shut down after a fraud suit settlement, Trump University. And not to mention, during his one single term as president, not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 of his cabinet secretaries were referred for federal criminal prosecution in one term. We just today got the Inspector General report on Trump Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross. And all the details of how that investigation concluded that Wilbur Ross lied to Congress on multiple occasions to cover up what the Trump administration was trying to do to mess with the census. And that report, again, which we just got in detail today, gives us all the details we didn't have before on this 5th Trump cabinet secretary who was referred to the U.S. Justice Department for potential criminal prosecution. In all 5 of those cases, all 5 Trump cabinet secretaries, it was the Trump Justice Department that refused to bring criminal charges despite those criminal referrals. But, like, you know, widen the lens a little bit. You know, meanwhile, the lawyers who brought the cases, brought the lawsuits that the former president wanted after the election to try to get the courts to somehow overthrow the election results and somehow keep him in office, those lawyers who were acting on his behalf are all facing court sanctions and potential disbarment in at least 4 different jurisdictions. His other personal lawyer, not the one who already went to prison, the other one has just had his law license suspended in both New York and in Washington, D.C. for his role in making those same false claims before the court. Oh, and he himself was impeached twice. That's a record. And he's personally facing a criminal investigation under Georgia state law for interfering with elections officials in that state. We're also awaiting a potential second round of indictments derived from these allegations of a years-long multi-million-dollar criminal tax fraud scheme that's already led to the indictment of his company that bears his name and its longtime CFO. I mean, not only is that not normal for an American presidency, like, in what country is that normal? Right? And in what universe is that the person who you pick to be the prohibitive frontrunner for the next Republican presidential nomination? Wow. Imagine, like, you know, they're trying to recruit people to the next Trump presidential campaign. Listen, if you play your cards right, you might become a cabinet secretary. And if the last time he was in office is any indication, that gives you only a 1 in 3 chance of being referred for federal criminal prosecution during his 4 years, the 4 years of his term.
I mean, it just boggles the mind because that is what we're talking about. Donald Trump still having a hold on the Republican Party. Everybody's scared to bug him. Nobody will run for president because they think he's going to run again. He's making all the moves to say he's in charge. And another question, why does it turn out to be that over this century, all of the corrupt presidents, I mean the real corrupt ones, Iran Contra, doing all kinds of facetious things, Watergate, I mean, are all these guys Republican? What is it intrinsic to that party's leadership that leads to that? Why is it that it's the party that always destroys the economy and repaired by the Democrats? Why? And why is it that American people can't learn? You know, today Nancy Pelosi said Jordan and the other guy cannot be on the select committee. And you know, these guys came out with an attack. They changed the subject. And as I watched it, I said, that is how they do it. They play dirty. Democrats don't need to play dirty. They just need to start playing. That's it. They just need to start playing. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.